Hello, today we will be talking about the audiovisual podcast 2. My guest today is Vincent Aldecoa from Professor Gamma's class in Spanish 160. Hi, Vincent. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good. Welcome to the second section of your audiovisual podcast. And
Okay.
how are you enjoying Spanish 160?
Well, I'm glad to be here, and it's been fun. It's been fun. Like the discussions we talk about in our lectures and our Friday classes. But yeah, it's been more interesting for sure.
Perfect. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started on our conversations today. We will be talking about Rigoberta Menchú, an Indian woman from Guatemala. The second topic we're going to be speaking about today is Vasconcelos, the Cosmic Race Prologue
Hmm.
by Jose Vasconcelos. And thirdly, we are going to be talking about Altasar Bilingüe by Chilean poet Vicente Udubro.
Okay.
So Rigoberta Menchú, an Indian woman in Guatemala,
Hmm.
wrote I, Rigoberta Menchú. It's an autobiography of Rigoberta Menchú, Quiche Maya woman from Guatemala. Can you tell me what this book is about?
Yeah. So basically, the book like tells the story of like her life growing up and in poverty, her indigenous communities and struggles and violences they faced during the Guatemala's Civil War.
Guatemala, huh? The Guatemala
Guatemala
War.
Civil War. Hmm.
So Rigoberta was from Guatemala.
Yes.
How does Rigoberta describe her childhood?
Like she describes it as like she was working in the fields with her family, and she had strong traditions in her family, and the discrimination of indigenous people suffered from wealth, landlords, and the government. But as like she's gotten older, she become more like politically aware of like what's going on and joining activist movements to fight for her land's rights and educate and social justice.
So it sounds like she was very involved politically. Can you tell me about some of the barriers that Rigoberta faced?
Mm, some of the barriers her and her family like faced were like her family members like kept being like killed and by like military for protesting. And despite the dangers, Roberta continues to fight for indigenous rights and become a voice for her people.
So it's my understanding that Rigoberta not only became the voice of the indigenous people from Guatemala, but on an international level as well.
Yes.
Can you tell me what were the main themes that you gathered from this reading?
Some main themes are like oppression and e- equality,
Inequality?
inequality, and between like intelligent people and the wealthy people
Mm-hmm.
or indigenous, I mean,
Yes.
uh, for resistance and activism, uh, also family and cultural identity um, as a source of like strength. And one more would be like education and empowerment as like a tool for like change, I would say.
So this book, seemed to be based on a lot of injustice of the indigenous people of Guatemala.
Yes.
Did it give you a first-hand account of what that looked like?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. So I think that the firsthand account that Guatemala indigenous people
Mhm.
they showed like struggles.
Yes.
And so I think that Rigoberta helped bring some human rights awareness.
Yeah. She wanted to give back to her community so like her children and her children's children don't have to go through what she went through.
Absolutely. And it sounds like it was based off of like survival and dignity and injustice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a quote about Rigoberta. Um, Peace cannot exist without justice. Justice cannot exist without fairness. Fairness cannot exist without development. And development cannot exist without democracy. Democracy cannot exist without respect for the identity and the worth of the culture and people. Do you have anything else you would like to share about this reading?
It's pretty interesting reading for sure and gives like a more like eye-opening on the world, I would say.
Especially in Guatemala?
Yes.
Thank you for your perspective. We're going to
Hmm.
move on to the next. The next discussion we're going to have is Vasconcelos, the Cosmic Race Prologue to the 1984 edition.
Hmm.
In the prologue of the 1984 edition of The Cosmic Race, Jose Vasconcelos looks back on the original ideas from the 1920s about the future of humanity and race. Can you tell me what were his thoughts about humanity and race?
He believed that like Latin American, especially Mexico, would become the birthplace of new fifth race, a mix of all races, like indigenous, European, African, and Asian, as like this cosmic race.
Mhm.
And he said he would combine the best qualities of all people and create a more united, spiritual, and like and just world person or nation.
Vasconcelos defends the against. I'm sorry. Vasconcelos defends his earlier vision against critics who misunderstood the theory as racist or unrealistic. Can you speak to what his goal was?
He explains that his goal was not to promote but racial
Hierarchy.
heritage, and but to imagine a future of harmony and equality through culture and racial mixing. He also discussed how the world political and social problems, especially war and discrimination, show the need for this kind of global unity.
What did he believe was the future?
He believed that racial and cultural mixing can lead to more peaceful and advanced and universal humanity, and the Latin American could lead the way toward the future.
Can you tell me what were the main themes you gathered from this reading?
The like evolution towards like cosmic race that blends all together. Latin America's plays a central role because of its diverse mix of peoples, and true progress comes from spiritual and cultural unity and not racial division, I would say.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That was a perfect interpretation of that. Thank
Yeah.
you for your perspective again. And we will be moving on to the Altasar Bilingüe. Altasar is a modernist and avant-garde poem written by Chilean poet Vicente Udubro and first published in 1931. It was considered one of the most important works of Latin poetry. Can you share what is the poem about?
It was basically about it tells the story of altruism.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, a kind of a symbolic figure of alter ego of the poet who falls through the space in a parachute. As he falls, he questions life, language, God, and the meaning of his like existence.
So Obrador uses the fall as a metaphor for the human experience. What is that?
Uh, Basically, like the loss of certainty, the search for identity, and the limits of like language. The poem starts with the clear meaning and structure, but as it goes on, the language becomes more fragment and experimental, showing like the breakdown of communication and the poet's attempts to create a new world, a new poetic world.
Well, thank you very much, Vincent, for your perspective today and your time on your information that you provided us in our podcast too. I wish you the best in the rest of the semester. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
No, but glad to be here and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.